Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here. And today, this is gonna be another one of the different videos, other than the usual ones, away from the usual stuff. So last year, I did a video where I basically delve a lot deeper than I usually do regarding my own personal life, my own personal history, and I did that, I guess, to coincide with the mental health May or whatever the fuck they want to call it. And surprisingly, I got like a like some really nice positive feedback from that. I didn't want to make that a habit because I resent this idea that I can only talk about mental health or my own personal life during the month of May. Like, we got to make it some big fucking gimmick. Like, I resent that. So I feel like any time of the year is a good time to talk about um, mental health or like taking kind of peeling back the curtain just a little bit. Not to where I'm gonna, you know, like blah out my entire life history in one video or anything like that, or dive a little too deep into certain things. But I've wanted to do a follow up video to that for quite a while now, and I just wasn't sure when the time was right. I wasn't sure when or how I would even do it or anything like that. Because if I'm gonna put a video like that out there where I talk about my problems like that personally, then I feel like I should at least do a follow up where I share how it's been since then. So, how has it been since last May? Since last May, um, it's been okay. So, I've kind of had a strange year as far as my personal life. Lots of changes this year, even more than last year, actually, which I thought last year had quite a few big changes, but this year in particular was like quite a few new things in my life. Um, but unfortunately, I started to reach this point, especially during like end of May, early June, where I feel like I basically stopped caring about, really taking my health seriously, taking my mental health seriously, both physical and mental health seriously. And I gained more weight during that time. I just felt generally more unhappy during that time. And I'll just say, without getting into specifics, May was very rough. It was May was this May was maybe the worst month of my life. I'm trying to think. Well, I don't know about my life, but it was definitely one of the worst months of my life. One of the worst. It was extremely stressful. It came with its own like it was like a constant just because of things that were happening. It was just like I would wake up every morning just feeling anxious and just feeling like it was like a roller coaster of emotion throughout May. And I'm glad. I'm honestly glad to be past May. May was terrible, but unfortunately, in the aftermath, I didn't really take good care of myself. So, uh, and I guess the reason that I've decided now that is a good time to make another one of these videos is that I've been working the last like month and change on really staying consistent as far as picking myself up back again, like mentally and physically. And I wanted to come and kind of do like the flip side to the last video where I talk about the problems I have. This time in this video, I want to talk about some of the long-term solutions that I've worked to implement into my life. To not My life hasn't like dramatically changed this last month as far as habits. But I've started to work on new things and things throughout my life. I actually, with my therapist, I've actually been doing like every 3 to 4 weeks I'll check in with him and I'll go over like, you know, I've gone this certain days between sessions, and here's what I've done in each day, and here's what I've tried to do throughout each day, and have I been successful, yes or no, in maintaining a certain rhythm or a certain pattern. Um so this is going to be divided into a few sections as far as, you know, my own experience dealing with certain things. Um the first thing that I want to talk about is food, because I have had throughout my entire life, as long as I can remember, I have always not, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's an addiction, but I have a propensity to be an emotional eater. And I mean, it's pretty obvious that I'm not the most physically fit person on the planet. I think the last time I checked, I was probably like 10 to 15 pounds shy of being like medically classified as obese according to like the American health standards, which is not good. But I've been trying to do better this last month and change. And my history with eating, and I hate to go back to like, well, it's my dad, yada yada. I hate to like constantly keep bringing up my dad, because it's like, even for me as someone who lived it, it gets old talking about it at a certain point. But I a lot of my like bad eating habits do, I think, do stem from that time, because my dad didn't give a fuck about my nutrition. It was like every other weekend I was with him, it was pizza and McDonald's and Carl's and Burger King and frozen pizzas and sugary cereals and sugary yogurts and ice cream and just all this stuff. Just, and then when we go out to like parties with his friends, it would be like lavish food there and stuff like that, like really like high calorie stuff. um Buttered popcorn, candy, like not a good eating habit, not not a good diet when I was a kid. And it got so bad like during my early childhood, like there used to be a time where I could eat an extra large pizza from Pizza Hut in a single setting and still be hungry. Like that's how bad it was when I was a little kid. And I feel like a lot of those habits have transitioned into my adult life, and the buck stops with me. And I've worked like, it's kind of like yo-yoed, where up and down. I've throughout the years, there will be like a stretch of time where I'll be really on what I eat and eat healthy and feel good about it. And then there will be other stretches of time, like a few months or maybe even longer, where I just won't give a shit about what I eat and just eat junk after junk after junk after junk. And the problem is that the older I've gotten, the more food has started to create this bad cycle, where, to the point where, specifically, I really should not be eating McDonald's anymore, because McDonald's does not do nice things for me mentally, let alone physically. Like for example, like McDonald's, there will be a time where like, oh, I'll get some. The trap I usually fall in with McDonald's is like, oh, I feel shitty, so therefore I'm gonna go eat to you know, feel better. Or, oh, I'm running late for something, or I need a quick breakfast. McDonald's is right there. And actually, like, to be honest, like their egg McMuffins are actually pretty good. They're not that bad as far as calorie wise. It's just when you get into shit like the sausage McMuffins and the pancake wrapped stuff, and that's when it like flies off the fucking rails. Their coffee is pretty good too, but again, it's pretty sugary. Uh, so I'll start in this like a cycle where it's oh, I feel shitty, therefore I must eat to feel better. And then I'll get to that like where I've eaten McDonald's and I go, oh, well now I feel shittier, so yeah, I'm back to square one again because I've eaten McDonald's. And McDonald's does affect me mentally for some strange reason. Like I don't get that same thing with like In and Out or uh Burger King or BJ's or any of these other places where it's like lots of like high calorie foods. It's mainly McDonald's for a strange reason, and I'm really curious that is just kind of a placebo thing with me, where I think it's McDonald's that does this, or it really is something extra in McDonald's that does that. But the point is, I get into these long stretches where I'll feel shitty, and then I want to eat to stop feeling shitty, and then I'm right back to square one where I feel shitty. And that just doesn't just apply to McDonald's. It applies to like a lot of other foods, just not as to the degree as McDonald's does. So what have I done this last month and a half to try to curtail that? Well, I've limited myself to about, I think I'm at like 1,750 calories for each day. I avoid a lot of high calorie food. I avoid a lot of sugar. I avoid quite a bit of carbs, except like in the morning. The morning carbs is okay. At night, I try not to focus on it so much. But the important thing too is that I give myself breathing room to allow myself like a little cheat every now and then. The average is probably once a week. Like I'll have something that's like a cheat meal. And I'm not talking about a cheat day. I'm talking about a cheat meal. And even that cheat meal, I don't think should be something like gargantuan amount of food or gargantuan amount of high calorie food. I've been eating things like I focus on eggs. Eggs are really good. Blueberries have become my favorite thing to eat instead of like sugary desserts. Because one of my vices are these like peanut butter filled chocolate things that are in the shape of a peanut, and you can get them at Trader Joe's. I fucking love those things. They're so fucking good. But I've been avoiding those. I've been having frozen blueberries as a dessert instead, which I guess is considered like one of the healthiest things you could have, blueberries. So that works out for me. I have been, for lunch, I've been eating like a lot more like lean meat. Like I'll get some like 93% lean meat from my local like Whole Foods or Sprouts, Trader Joe's. I'll get lean steaks. I'll get lean chicken. I'll eat that grass-fed stuff. The grass-fed stuff that's good. Salmon. I really like salmon. Salmon is extremely healthy. There's a fish taco place near me that makes a really good like, and I don't get the fish tacos just to avoid the tortillas, like those carbs, but I'll just get like a plate of like 10 ounces of mild grilled fish, and I'll have like some like a chicken tortilla soup with that, which is actually like pretty low in calorie for what it has in it, surprisingly. And I'll have that for lunch, and it will be awesome, and I'll be full, and I'll be happy. So dinner, same thing, a lot of like protein. If I have any carbs at dinner, it's probably gonna be something like brown rice or roasted potatoes. Roasted potatoes. I'm not like I'm an amazing cook or anything, but I can make a damn good roasted potatoes. Chop it up, put some olive oil, put some like garlic salt on it, roast in the oven for like an hour 10. Boom. Excellent protein. Excellent. These potatoes are awesome, and they're very low in calories too, which is great. I also have been keeping track. This is another like really important thing. I've been keeping track of what I eat, where I have the MyFitnessPal app. They've made some changes to it, unfortunately, that I don't like, but where they're trying to get you to get the MyFitnessPal Pro membership or some shit like that. I no. As long as they keep the basic functionality of just being able to record what I eat, then it's fine. Really great way. This is something that I got into a long time ago as far as MyFitnessPal. Is that what really helps, like the biggest recommendation I can probably make as far as diet outside of like what to eat is keep track of what you eat. If you can actually see in numbers a breakdown of the calories and all that of what you eat, that, in my opinion, goes a long way to helping you out. A long way. Very long way. And ever since I've gotten back on eating healthy, and even during those times where I did eat a lot stricter than I'm doing right now, which I don't think is quite good unless you're like trying to lose weight in a very short amount of time for something specific. I don't recommend being extremely strict with a diet. I recommend just staying within reason. Just maybe depending on your weight, maybe it's like 1,700 to 1,800 calories a day. I know 2,000 is what is recommended, but I would go a little bit lower, just like 1,700, 1,800. And there are plenty of things out there that you can fit within that limit that will fill you up. I promise you that there are plenty like that. So, uh, there's that, and I've felt a lot better now that I've been eating like that. It's been getting hard to, because I'm somebody also that gets really intense cravings. Like for example, when I was recording a video like a couple weeks ago, I had this like really intense craving for In-N-Out burger, and I didn't get it. I didn't end up getting it, thank God. But it was really intense, and my problem is like when I have really like long periods of intense cravings, it won't just be cravings for a specific food, at least throughout an entire day. It'll jump from like, I have a craving for this, then an hour will pass. Oh, I have a craving for this, and then a couple hours will pass. And I have a craving for this, and it's just, for a while it was just like constant. When it gets really out of control, it's just constant. Like on a really bad day when I don't give a fuck about what I eat, I could go to like McDonald's and order like 2 sausage muffins and a hash brown and a coffee, and then for lunch I can get like 5 carne asada tacos with like 2 helpings of tortilla chips with like lots of like avocado salsa, and then for dinner I can just get like a frozen pizza, or go out and get pizza or something like that, like something really bad like that. Like it'll be a typical day when I'm not giving a fuck about what I eat. It'll be like that. And then as far as another topic, which is exercise. So this is something where I've learned a lot over the last few years. Last few years in particular have been very informative about what I should do in regards to exercise. And the major thing that I've learned is to not overdo it. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they get on the oh, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna get fit, and then they go to the gym or they start working out and they overdo it and they get so tired, or they like strain some part of their muscles or whatever, and they don't want to do it for a while. And that had always been my problem, where I would get gung-ho about it. I would go to the gym and I would fuck up an arm or I would fuck up a leg, and I would like pull a muscle, and then for like, I'm out for like a couple weeks and I won't want to exercise. So something that I learned is that it's okay to do much lower weights. What's important is that you do more repetitions. And if doing like, in my opinion, doing 100 like 20 to 30 pound like lifts like that, like pulleys like that, is way better than doing like 10 um like 100 pound, 120 pound ones, especially when you're first starting out working out. I don't believe into like exerting yourself to exhaustion, to where you're like, you physically can't move it anymore because your muscles are so like spazzed out. It's just, no, that is something I don't recommend. And then one of the big things that I recommend, as far as, especially if you're not only wanting to get some exercise, but you also want to work on mental health, is get some sun. That's a big thing for me. No matter how hot it is, even if like right now I'm like fucking, it's like really humid in here right now, but outside it's probably like 85 degrees right now, and it will get hotter throughout the day. I always, like these last like month and change, I make a point of going outside to walk for a little bit. It doesn't have to be intensive. It doesn't have to be where you're like like jogging and shit like that. Just go out and take a walk for like 10 to 15 minutes outside. Except if it's rain, if it's something like where it's raining, then I mean maybe, yeah, don't do that because you get a cold or some shit. But if it's sunny, especially if it's a beautiful day like today where there's like barely a cloud in the sky, um, go out, walk, get some sun, because sun really helps mental health. That I'm not a scientist. I don't have any proof, like scientific proof of how it works. But at least from my experience, getting some sun, getting out there, I always feel better. And that is something that helped me a lot during COVID. That's what I or during COVID, I would always like go outside and just walk. Just nothing intensive, nothing where I wanted to lose weight. It would literally just be to walk around my neighborhood for maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. Like walk down to the park, just walk around a little bit and then go back home. And just that 15 to 20 minutes of being outside did wonders for my mental health. Did wonders making me feel just a little bit better throughout the day. And the cool thing about what I like, because I've been walking my dog a lot more frequently. Walking if you're unable to go to the gym, because a lot of the time I don't have time to go to the gym, even though I have a membership. I go once in a while when I really have the time, but when I don't, walking is really good. Like just this morning, I went out before I had my coffee. I went out, I took the dog out for a walk, like a 30-minute walk, and now throughout the day, I feel more energized. I feel better. Um, Honestly, if I didn't have my walk this morning, I probably wouldn't be in the mood to come record this video for you guys. But yeah, that's a big one, is walking, in my opinion. Walking is a really simple, but it does wonders. And that's like any advice I've ever given anyone who feels down, who feels blue. um Walk, especially if it's sunny. If it's sunny, go out for a walk. Go out. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to be jogging. You don't have to like do some 5 yard dash or any shit like that. Just get out there, get your ass out there, and just walk. Just be outside. It's really good for you. I really do recommend that. Another area that I wanted to talk about is meditation. So this is gonna sound a little goofy, but meditation, even if it's for like 15, like 10-15 minutes, I don't know if I'd be able to do 20 minutes. I'd probably fall asleep because of how relaxed I would get. um One thing that my therapist introduced me to when we first started doing our sessions is um mindfulness meditation. And there are tons of guided videos about it on YouTube. You could literally just type in 5-10 minute mindfulness meditation. Boom, there would be like thousands of results that you can choose from. I think the one I always use is like something called the Daily Calm, where it's like a 10 to 15 minute thing. And I either do it like at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. And I'll always feel better after I do it, where it will teach you to kind of just be inside your own body and kind of just take a step back and be objective about what you're feeling, not emotionally, but like physically, where you pay attention to like where certain sensations are in your body. um it focuses on non-judgmental noticing. And this is something that it isn't just meditation where I've come to start noticing certain things about my body. It's in like throughout the day. I will Mindfulness meditation has kind of like trained me a little bit to take a step back. If I feel like I'm caught up in something, and I'll start to feel like physical sensations, like I'll feel like a slight discomfort in like the pit of my stomach, or my shoulders will feel like achy, or I'll have a headache. I kind of just Mindfulness meditation has taught me to just sit back and just take a few deep breaths, and close your eyes and just notice certain things. Notice where on your body is the physical sensation right now. Where on your body do you feel pressure? Where on your body is there, it's like a little tense? How fast is your heart beating? What does the ground feel like underneath your feet? Stuff like that. And when you focus on the objective things, as far as like where physical placement is in your environment, you start, at least in my experience, I start to drown out a lot of the mental stuff that's going on, the emotional stuff. And that's great. Like right now, for example, I notice the carpet underneath my feet. I feel a slight headache, even though I had breakfast. Why do I have a slight headache? Well, I think it's because it's hot in here for one thing. Um, I also think it's just maybe the stress, the little bit of stress of recording in front of the camera again. It's always a little bit of a stressful thing, even though I've been making videos for damn near 10 years now. It's still a little bit stressful to record in front of a mic. Still a little bit stressful to record in front of a camera in particular. So there's that. Um, I noticed that the more I talk, the back of my throat feels a little dry. It's probably because I need some water. Again, it's fucking hot in here. Um, so just things like that. And when you notice things like that, physical things, especially during the meditation, when you can have a good guided one, I feel better. Like there was a day where I was having like a really bad day, and then but I stopped. I did like and it doesn't even have to be guided. I just sat down for about like 5 minutes, and I just closed my eyes, and I just kind of and I just did that like few breaths, notice in objective sense what I'm feeling, where I am, um, just thoughts that float into the forefront of my mind. Just don't dwell on them, but just acknowledge that they're there, and then just move on and acknowledge them objectively, non-judgmental way. And that's ultimately what I get out of mindfulness meditation. And another thing that I recommend that again, it sounds a little silly, but I've really liked doing it these past few weeks is a dream log. And this is where it gets interesting, where I sometimes, like a lot of people, have very strange dreams. And what I like to do is I like to, when I wake up, if I remember, I'll reach for my phone. I'll just quickly jot down what I remember about the dream, and then I'll come back like a day later and try to break down like a little thought exercise. Like, why would I be dreaming this? Why would I think about this? Um, like for an example, and I guess I'll bring one up. I'll bring it's not too bad. Um, like for example, one night I had a dream that I was I was like stopped by an old friend of mine's mom. It was out in the middle of nowhere, and we were like walking in my neighborhood and stuff like that. Now, why did I dream about that? Well, it's because I encountered that person the day before in my neighborhood, and I hadn't seen her in a few years, and we talked very briefly. So that was on my mind, and that was also the like, oh, maybe you should text her, maybe you should get in contact with her and try to talk to her again because you haven't seen her in a few years. Like little things like that come to the forefront of my mind. Um, uh, just other stuff that like I had a dream that like I heard I was at my old high school again, and I heard Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven playing around the area, and I had like all my old friends there, and the people I knew back in high school. It's like, why did I dream that? I don't know, honestly. Maybe it's my mind telling me that Led Zeppelin is going to be my next binge. Maybe it was during like where I feel nostalgic for being able to see my old high school friends on a more frequent basis. Maybe it's something like that, which true. I do need to get in contact with certain sections of my friends groups more regularly. So maybe that was the subconscious telling me that. But stuff like that, um, dreams, if you don't write them down, you'll forget them. But sometimes a dream can have something really important in it. And I've tried to make a habit of like recording them down and really analyzing them and thinking about it. Uh, the next area that I want to talk about, excuse me, I have this written down on my phone just to try to remember. Oh, so the last thing that I'll talk about is cognitive exercises. This is something that has been really good for me, and I think I mentioned this in the last video as well, where Whenever I have like an automatic negative thought, because again, as a recap for those who probably maybe didn't watch the first video, if you're new to the channel, is that I have what's called like automatic thinking, automatic negative thinking, where my brain is so used to feeling miserable and self-criticism and trying to make myself feel bad. And because the brain loves routine, no matter how toxic it is, when I'm doing something, my brain will automatically try to get me back onto the tracks of bad thoughts, like bad self-image. And it will do this by trying to subtly sneak in like a bad memory that I have, or a past failure, or like some kind of thing that I've dwelled on that I feel bad about, or something just really bad will try to like sneak its way in there. And what I've done over the last few years, ever since I started therapy, is I try to visualize when these negative thoughts come in. And my go-to is I imagine like Sly Cooper, the Thievius Raccoon, like Sly Cooper from the Sly Cooper games. I imagine like Sly Cooper and like a giant spotlight flashes on him, and it's like, ha, got you. There it is. And that's what I visualize the automatic thought trying to sneak into my head. Another way I can visualize it is like I imagine that my mind is like a movie theater, and then an automatic thought will try to sneak in through the back door to get into the theater without paying or without me allowing it to be there. And it's like me noticing it as like the security guard coming in or a theater employee. It's like, aha, got you, you're out, get out. And that's what it does. And I like visual. I think I like the. I've grown to like the theater, sneaking into the theater visual more, just because to me that makes a little bit more sense. That gives me a little bit more to work with as far as, you know, my mind's eye and thinking about it. So, uh, that's a tough. It's a tough habit to break as far as these automatic negative thoughts, because again, the brain loves routine, the brain loves comfort, and if the routine is feeling like shit mentally, a lot of the time the brain is gonna want to keep you there. And it's hard to break that habit, but I've been working on it, and I feel like I've been doing a lot better these last few years as far as really noticing it. And if I feel like I notice it, then I feel like half the battle has already been won. Because I mean, it's going to happen where it'll slip in every now and then. It's gonna happen. You can't catch them all. But the more you notice and the more you visualize it, I feel like you'll have a higher success rate of keeping that stuff out and trying to really focus on improving your overall positive like mentality. Um Another thing too is that um I've tried being grateful for things a lot more now. And this is something that I have been more aware of, I guess, as recent as like the last few months, where no matter what is going on in my life that's pretty bad or that sucks, and I'm not like discrediting those experiences, I have it pretty damn good compared to a lot of people. So whenever I feel bad or whenever I feel like I'm like worthless or life isn't worth living or just garbage like that, I'll stop and think about the things that I am the most grateful for in my life, things that I am lucky to have. So right now I can list it off just from like looking around. I am lucky that I have a computer, a working computer that has a really good graphics card, that has a lightning fast SSD. It's a nice computer. I have a curved monitor here. It's not a lot of people in the world are fortunate to have one. Um, I I'm healthy, I guess, somewhat. I have a roof over my head. I have my own room. I have my own comfy bed. I have a phone that's basically like a mini supercomputer. I have working AC that I can turn on whenever I want. I have a big TV. I have a PlayStation 5. Like the list can go on and on and on. And I'm not talking about just like superficial things like that, except the roof over your head. I'm well fed. I can get up whenever I want and get any kind of food that I want and eat it. I can get clean drinking water whenever I want. I can go outside and not have to worry about a bomb exploding over my head or soldiers coming in to invade my city or anything like that. I am, and that's a little bit more like an extreme example of gratefulness, but you see my point, where when I look at like outside myself, what I have, I realize like it's okay. Like this is all okay. And there will be times where I'll get caught in this whirlwind of negative thinking, or I'll be like, oh God, the world is coming apart around me. And then I'll kind of have a moment where I'll be doing something mundane. Like, for example, I'll be outside with my dog, just walking, I'm letting him out, go take a piss. And I'll be walking back and I'll think, huh, you know, I'm in a pretty nice area, live in a pretty nice home, walking my dog that I love dearly. It's sunny, but not too sunny. Nice wind. I'm dressed. You know, it's okay. So, being grateful for stuff over these last few months, really making an effort to think about what I'm grateful for, has helped me quite a bit. And that's something that I'd recommend as well to anyone out there going through. It's not going to work for everyone, obviously, but this is just speaking from my own experiences as far as mental health. This is what I have come to learn these last. It's really like what I've learned over the course of years, but I've been consistently more applying it to my daily life since then. And I feel like I'm not there yet. I'm far from the where I'd like to be physically, mentally, but I'm doing better, especially compared to like about a month and a half ago. Because like I said, May sucked. May sucked. So yeah. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Again, I'm not gonna make a habit out of doing these videos. It's just whenever I feel like talking, I'll talk. I'm not in any kind of time frame, but here you go. Here's another video, and I hope some of this experience, helps you guys, or if you like some of the advice that I've given or some of the suggestions that I've made, and you want to try them. I mean, hey, go for them. A lot of the stuff that I've mentioned isn't like crazy. It's not like some giant rigorous life-changing like routine, but it's just like little things that you can do. I always like the saying, a little bit of care goes a long way, and that's what I feel like is the basis for today's video. That I feel like a lot of people, especially those going through like mental health struggles like I do, a little bit of care goes a long way. Doing something nice for yourself, even if it's small, can really have a good ripple effect for the long term. That's all I have to say for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Later!